back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Former head of state, retired General Gowon, challenges clerics to take bold steps in ending religious fundamentalism in Nigeria. Residents of Abuja frown on wave of violence in the nation's capital as the vice president restates the government's resolve to end insurgency. APC vows to challenge in court alleged excesses of security officials during the Ikiti governorship election. And World Health Organization raises alarm over the spread of Ebola in West Africa. Just to quickly remind you that all our top stories are on our website, ChannelsTV.com, and on YouTube.com/channelsweb. To get us on the move, please visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. And of course, you can interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android, iOS and Windows 8 platforms. So if you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and then follow the instructions. Well, some people have already been doing that, and let's just take a look at some of the reports and pictures that were sent in to us today. We begin with this one showing the wreckage after the bomb blast that rocked the popular Emab Plaza in Wuse 2, Abuja yesterday. The incident left 21 people dead, many injured, and property destroyed. And from Cross River State is this picture of a flooded street 8 miles in Calabar. Our eyewitness reporter says poor drainage and blocked gutters in the area are the cause of the flood. And finally is this picture from Owerri in Imo State showing the learning conditions of students in a lecture room in the Federal University of Technology. Our eyewitness reporter says this facility is meant to be a workshop for automobiles, but the congestion and the noisy environment makes learning very difficult, as you can see. Well, thank you so much for sending in your pictures and reporting the situations around you. We'd like to ask you to please keep the pictures coming. Now, the Lagos State Police Command has asked members of the public not to hurriedly reach a conclusion on the explosions that occurred at the Folawiyo premises in Lagos last night. The spokesperson of the Lagos Police Command, Ngozi Braid, told journalists that the bomb experts should be allowed to carry out their investigations. Earlier, the spokesman for the National Emergency Management Agency in the Southwest, Mr. Ibrahim Familoye, described it as an accident that occurred when a gas cylinder was being refilled. He said although the owners of the premises didn't allow any of the fire servicemen from the federal and state units onto the premises, they worked from a distance to put out the fire that resulted in the explosion. Meanwhile, other reports have attributed the explosion to a tanker loaded with fuel, but NEMA says that particular incident occurred 24 hours within the same area. On to other issues now. An opposition lawmaker, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, is to face the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges to explain statements credited to her about the activities of the Senate. The Senate leader, Victor Ndomaegba, at plenary, said Senator Tinubu breached his privileges as a lawmaker when she took a swipe at the leadership of the Senate, accusing it of poor performance. The Senate mandated its Committee on Ethics and Privileges to look into the matter and report in 2 weeks. Now, here's cheery news for advocates of state police in Nigeria. Delegates at the National Conference have approved the recommendation allowing state governments to operate their own police forces. The conference today passed this recommendation while considering the report of the Committee on National Security. Now, the delegates also agreed that elected officials who defect to other parties should automatically lose their seats. Now, what's happening in the power sector? The National Electricity Regulatory Commission says there's no increase in electricity tariffs in the country. The chairman of the NERC, Mr. Sam Amadi, told Channels Television that the tariff situation does not amount to an increase, but is a re-indexing process based on the current economic realities. He made these remarks when he paid a courtesy visit to the headquarters of Channels Television in Lagos. The team was received by the General Manager Special Duties, Mr. Steve Judo, and other management staff on behalf of the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer.
Actually, on 1st June, is to re-index the tariff. We went back to the tariff. That year, 1st June, there should have been a new tariff. That new tariff would have meant 1,500 naira as fixed charge for consumers in the whole of Bidi Disco. That means Edo, Ikiti, and so on. Now, based on the savings we got from the macroeconomics, low inflation, low foreign exchange, we reduced the tariff to 750. So really, NEC didn't change the tariff. What NEC did was re-index, and the re-indexation brought gains for consumers with fixed charge. The only difference here is that because we have projected 9,062 megawatts and we got about less than 4,000 on the average before June, they have 52% or so minus. Therefore, it means that the average cost of power becomes more, slightly more, and that's why R2 customers only have 1 naira 45 kobo increase in energy charge, but had over 50% decrease in fixed charge in some places.
To politics now, and the All Progressive Congress has announced plans to challenge alleged infractions on the rights of members of the party during the just concluded governorship election in Ikiti State. Rising from the inaugural National Working Committee meeting of the party, the National Publicity Secretary, Lai Mohammed, says the party is heading to the courts in order to ensure that the unconstitutional acts are not repeated in subsequent elections.
With thousands of armed troops, police, state security, NDLA, civil defense personnel deployed to Ikiti, the state was simply under a total lockdown. While we believe that the police and the civil defense indeed have a role to play in providing the necessary security for the election, we do not see why soldiers and NDLA operatives who are armed to the teeth need to be deployed to a non-belligerent situation like an election, especially at a time that their services, the service of these soldiers, are more needed in the northeastern part of Nigeria.
Well, the last is yet to be heard of the outcome of the Ikiti governorship election, in which the candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Ayo Fayose, emerged winner. The National Publicity Secretary of the party, Olisa Metu, accused the APC leadership of attempting to cause anarchy in the state by refusing to accept the results even after their candidate had conceded. He further called on all Nigerians to hold the APC responsible if there is any breakdown of law and order in the state. Now, the Ikiti governorship election may have come and gone, but it's continued to generate more debates and political discussions. As an election planned by INEC to be a template for 2015, it will be interesting to know just how well the umpire fared in the conduct of the polls. On our big story tonight, our political correspondent Sheung Okimbaloe takes a look at some of the issues surrounding the Ikiti governorship election and what it holds for the future electoral process.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
From the beginning, it was clear the Ikiti governorship election was going to be a keenly contested race, What is perhaps unknown to many people is the manner in which the result would go. Lots of anticipation was in the air before and during the polls. The deployment by INEC and security operatives showed just how much was dedicated for the election. In terms of voters turnout, by far, the Ikiti election is a lot better than most elections in Nigeria in the past years. Out of the over 700,000 registered voters, about 200,000 PVCs were not collected before the election, and from the slightly over 500 PVCs collected, about 370 voters came out for accreditation. That's over 70% voter turnout. Cases of ballot stuffing, snatching and rigging, which have characterized our electoral process in times past, were not recorded. For INEC, just coming out of the Anambra governorship election, the conduct of the Ikiti election may have earned them a pass mark.
First, you want to oversight the accreditation process. You want to look at the voting. You want to look at the collation. You want to look at the conduct of the election management body. On these four parameters, you will score INEC excellent.
Considering the plan of the umpire in using the Ikiti experience as a template for the 2015 general election, how far have we come?
We must test out card readers before 2015, whether it's in some by-elections that are going to come after Osun, since they have said they are not going to use them. Let us not go into 2015 elections without testing out those card readers. It will be a recipe for disaster if we don't, because if they don't function, then you may resort to manual, which will create a lot of crisis.
Of what impact did the heavy deployment of security operative has on the conduct?
It's reminiscent of what you call gun barrel democracy. Ikiti people voted at the behind the barrel of the gun. There was a massive overkill in terms of deployment of military and security forces.
I think it's a good one. Security is what actually guarantee. People were actually confident.
A few hours after the announcement of the result in Ayodele Fayoshe's camp, celebration ran the air.
Following the gubernatorial election.
But surprisingly, his opponent, the incumbent governor and the APC candidate Kayode Fayemi, delivered a speech which took Nigerians by surprise. Mr. Fayoshe too stood up to the call.
It's another raising of the ante in Nigeria in terms of political behavior. So I think I have to commend the statesman-like attitude and posturing of Kayode Fayemi in accepting the inevitable. Fayoshe too was gracious. I could even say magnanimous. He gave the impression of eating the humble pie.
Although we have seen incumbents beaten in elections, what we may not have seen is the magnitude of the victory, where the winner emerging victorious in all local government areas of the state. The Ikiti election has sent jitters to some quarters and confidence to others, but it has again taught us all some lessons and opened our eyes to what is possible in the Nigerian political scene. For the big story, Sheun Okimbaloye reporting for Channels Television News.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
When the news at 10 returns, House of Representatives summons Central Bank Governor over the new 35 million naira capital base for BDC operators. That's on Business News. Do join us.